Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this free live session exclusively brought to you by TalentSprint. And we all know why we're here. A very important exam is, I wouldn't say around the corner. We still have a couple of days and 1 month to go for SSC CGL, which will commence on 1st of August onwards, right? So today's session, I thought, vocabulary playing a pretty major role when it comes to SSC CGL exam. I thought it was important for us to take time to spend on vocabulary questions, right? So when I say vocabulary questions, I'll tell you what exactly we are going to focus on. Question types like synonyms and antonyms, question types like idioms and phrases, spellings, one-word substitutions, right? All these come under vocabulary. So in this session, we're going to see if there's a different approach that we can take, for these questions. Usually, these questions are categorized under either you know it or you don't know it, right? So, but we will still see if there is a way in which we can still attempt these questions. Why miss out? Out of 25 questions, at least 9 or 10 questions would be comprising all of these question types that I just mentioned, okay? So before we get started, let me quickly see who's here. Hi Roy and Harsha. We have Amir, Pratyush, Vamshi, Muttu, Archita, Rahul, Venu, Arya. Okay, some more people, it's kind of scrolling really fast, so I'm not able to see, but welcome to all of you who are here this evening with us. Some of you are, choosing to stay as silent spectators. It'll be great if you can just, say hi to each other, and it's great to have you all here this evening. I'm sure by now you know that every Wednesdays at 6 o'clock we do have a session scheduled exclusively for you guys out there who are preparing for any competitive exam or bank exams specifically, right? So the focus, of course, is going to revolve around SSC CGL now that we have just a month and a couple of days to go. So I'm hoping by now all of you have like a major strategy or a study plan, and you're following it strictly, right? Hi, Shrisha. Okay, so as and when people come, yes, I might miss out on calling out your name, but I'm glad that you're here. Pramod and Nandish and Sushil and Simon and Anil, hi. And we have Honey and Devendra. Honey, is that your real name or it's just a pet name? Hogeshwari Honey. Okay, what you need to do, Hitesh, is, okay, those of you who are having trouble, your screen is not clear, things like that, just all you need to do is just change your resolution, right? Change your resolution and you shouldn't have a problem seeing the screen. Hi Gautam and Ayushi and Vivek and Rahul and Archita. Okay, yes, we will get started right away, Archita. So like I said, we're going to look at quite a bit of questions. So when I say important vocabulary questions, what we're trying to address here is every question is pretty important, right? Out of 25 questions, we said at least 9 or 10 questions fall under vocabulary based questions. So you tell me, I'm sure by now, since you've practiced, and this is not the first time you have attempted this exam, SSC CGL, I'm sure you guys have taken this exam earlier as well, and you know what your opportunity areas are, which question type is a problematic area for you. By now you should know, right? If not, it's not too late, you still have a month to go. You can still figure it out and spend time accordingly on those questions, yeah? So let's get started. Let me share the screen. So this is how we'll do this. We're going to quickly go through some questions. We're going to quickly spend some time on some concepts or strategies that we can apply. And also, if you have any questions, doubts, stop me at that question. If not, we'll move forward. I have kind of put out a different pattern this time towards the end. So if we have time, we'll go through that. If not, let's see, within the 1 hour's time that we have, we'll see how much we can cover. Okay, all right, so Archita is your first attempt, that's great. Archana, yeah, we're going to see. Through these vocabulary questions, we're going to, figure out how to go ahead and improve our score in English. Let's not worry about close passage and jumble sentence, at least for now, because that will come only in tier 2, right? Let's focus on tier 1 first. One step at a time. Let's clear off the first stage first, and then we'll definitely have classes scheduled for tier 2 as well, right? We'll focus on that at that time. Then we'll focus on those questions at that time. Let's not crowd our head with too many question types right now, yeah? Sushil, just refresh at your end. There's a yummy. Okay, great. So just let me know if this is your first attempt. Chitranjan says it's my first attempt. Ambati says it's the first attempt. Okay. All right. So let's get to our first question. Srisha, refresh. Those of you who are not getting the video, refresh. Okay. So the first question we have, let's read the direction. Rupali also first attempt. All right. So in the following question, out of the 4 alternatives, choose the word which is opposite in meaning to the given word, and click the button corresponding to it. Now what we're going to do is, like I said, yeah, we'll see if we can approach this question slightly different. Now what I want you to pay attention, obviously, for the directions when it comes to synonyms and antonyms, is to make sure whether you are expected to answer a synonym or an antonym, right? Now on this question, it's very clearly saying choose the word which is opposite in meaning, so we know that we need an antonym here, right? Without a doubt. Now, if this is the case, a couple of things, okay? A couple of things for you to figure out. Every time you have a synonym antonym question or a one-word substitution question or a spelling question, it's good to quickly dissect the word, right? What's the most obvious suffix in all these words? Can somebody quickly point out? Malleable is the given word, right? And my options are teachable, intractable, manageable, and pliable. And all these words, there's a very common suffix. What's a suffix? The part that gets added at the end of a word, right? So can anybody point out to me what's the obvious suffix in all these words? Sushil, refresh. What's the obvious suffix? I'm waiting for an answer. Suffix. Shalini, you're giving me a prefix. What's the suffix? Yes, Ayushi, thank you. Able, right? That's my, and if you look at all the words, I have the suffix able. Right? Now what does this suffix mean? The word itself, able, itself means capable of something, right? Capable of something, and there are other meanings as well, susceptible or fit for, tending to, given to, right? Now, if I look at the option 1, I know teachable means able to teach. Intractable, I don't know, but I also am paying attention to this prefix in. Then I have manageable. Manageable means you're able to manage something. Pliable means you're able to do something which is, pretty flexible or whatever, right? Now we have the word malleable. Now from the given option, they are asking you to choose a word that is opposite in meaning. Now if I take the word in, I know this prefix in means it has a meaning of in, it has a meaning of on, it also has a meaning of not, right? So we know words where it gives the meaning of not, insane. Right? Now if this is you get an idea. So every other option, malleable, teachable, manageable, pliable, is all giving me some sort of a ability to do something. Right? So the only thing that is sticking out is option 2 with this prefix in, which means not. Right? So one other way for you to quickly look at these words and see what's the opposite, what is not in line with what is given in the options is intractable. Now just for your information, intractable means Again, if I take the word intractable itself, I have the obvious suffix able, then I have the prefix in. Now this word tract, which is the root, right? This word means drag or pull. So there are a lot of words like contract with this root, contract, attract, right? Intractable means not able to do something. So the only thing that is opposite with malleable is intractable. Difficult, what does it mean? It means difficult to manage or deal with, right? Now all we've done here is we've looked at all the suffixes, we've looked at one obvious prefix that is standing out, right? And then we figured out the answer. Now this is one way in which you can approach synonym antonym questions as well. The best thing to do is to quickly look at the word and see if you can dissect it, right? When I say dissect it, one way to do it is use the prefix, suffix, root word concept, right? So keep this in mind. Let's move ahead and we will look at the next one. Now the next one for you is, we're done with this, okay? Disavowal, okay? Maybe it's a new word, I don't know this word, I've never come across this word. And the options are rebuttal, repeal, approval and appeal. Great. Now can you again look at some, let's dissect words here, right? In the given word, disavowal, what's the obvious prefix and suffix? Let's dissect this word here. Give me the prefix which goes in the beginning of the word and give me the suffix. What's the obvious prefix and suffix that you are familiar with in this word, disavowal? I see there's a lot of different conversation happening there. Yeah, thank you. So I have the prefix dis and I have the suffix al, right? And if you look at my options, I have al as a suffix for everything, right? Now, from my options, I'm only going to focus on my prefix dis. What's the meaning of dis? It's important for us to know the meanings of as many prefixes, suffixes, right? The meaning, now this is a negative prefix, okay? And it means not or none. Now that I have an idea, right, not or none. Surya, Gavani. Disavowal, negative prefix, not or none, right? So if that's the case, from my options, now I'm sure you're clear with the directions, right? Choose the word which is, again we need an antonym here. So pretty easy, all I'm going to do is, Hitesh, will you get synonym antonym questions in IBPS? Yes, you will, right? It's applicable, it's basically verbal ability, which is there in all the competitive exams. So if this word is giving me a negative meaning because of the prefix dis, they are asking me for a antonym. From my options, I just need a word that is what? Opposite in meaning to a negative meaning, right? Options, rebuttal, repeal, appeal, approval. What's a rebuttal? Think. I want you to think. if I remove dis and al, I have again another way to go about this is also to be familiar with the root. Yes. Okay, I'm going to answer each of your comments. Okay, Gautam says rebuttal could be an answer. Now let's look at what a rebuttal is. Now let's say you go to a shop, you want to buy something, you want to buy a new phone, okay, and then you say, you know what, but this phone doesn't have, I'm looking for more than 3 GB RAM, right? It doesn't have that, so I don't think I'm interested. But the guy who's selling you the phone, he's going to come back and he's going to say, you know what, this may be the case, but let me tell you, this phone has this other features. So he's giving you a rebuttal. You said something and he is contradicting and he is giving you other options to think about, right? So avow as a root means to acknowledge or declare openly and unashamedly. Okay, so we've taken dis, the prefix, we've taken al, the suffix, we've looked at what the root also means. So if I add dis to this, what meaning does it give me? To declare or acknowledge openly or unashamedly. So disavow means not to do that, right? Not admitting, denying, rejecting, contradicting. So in fact, I think Gautam, right, rebuttal in fact would be a synonym for disavowal. Repeal, what's repeal? Repeal means is to reverse, revoke, recall, withdraw. So I need a positive word, right? Approval, on the other hand, is clearly in line with being a negative meaning to disavowal. Appeal again means, you're requesting something. It's an earnest plea. Not a very related word given the context. So if this is a new word for you, if you can still apply the concept of the prefix, which is negative in meaning, you can still figure out what can be the answer, right? So a good knowledge on meanings of prefixes, suffixes, root words will definitely come handy when you have questions like this, because it's not even coming to you in a context, right? It's like a standalone word thrown. So if it's like this, either you know the answer or you don't know the answer, right? There is no two ways about it. However, if you are a little more knowledgeable in root words, prefixes, suffixes, you might end up gaining 1 mark. So far we've looked at antonyms. Let's quickly look at one other synonym antonym question. Now in the directions it clearly says choose the word which best expresses the meaning, which means I need a synonym here. The word is revile. Options: revive, review, abuse, reveal. I need a synonym. The most obvious prefix is, if I dissect the word, is ari, 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 and then I have abuse. Now if I remove the word ari, are you familiar with the remaining word vile? Does anybody know what that means? Vile. Do you think have you come across this word anywhere? Do you think it's a positive word or a negative word? Let me have some answers. Nishi, Surabhi. Yes, it's a negative word, right? So vile means extremely unpleasant, nasty, bad, disagreeable, right? It's a negative word. And we also want a synonym, which means out of the options, whichever option gives me a negative meaning, I choose that option. That's it. Revile, re as a prefix means what? Again. It means again and again, or it involves some sort of repetition. Back or backward motion. Revati, good point. But what we're trying to do here is, I'm giving you some concepts and strategies that you can fall back for you to take time to practice, right? So that you will not spend a lot of time during the time of the exam. So as soon as you have this question in the exam, you know what to do. You dissect the word, re, okay, I am aware of, this is the meaning of this prefix. While I've come across this word, this is the meaning. It's a negative meaning. They're asking for a synonym. Out of my options, the only negative word from the options is revive is a positive word. Revive means viv. Again, if I remove the prefix, viv means life, to bring back to life again. Review, to view, to go through something again, right? Reveal, reveal means to open up, right? The only negative word is abuse. And that's our answer. Are you following? All I'm trying to say is, if you are familiar with how to approach these questions from this angle, you will still be able to score 1 mark, 2 marks, right? And not lose out on getting that mark. Because most of us try and skip this. Because if we look at that word and if we don't know the meaning, we move forward. But what I'm trying to say is, hey, there is a concept called prefixes, suffixes, root words. You get familiar with as many meanings of prefixes, suffixes and root words, and thereby make your job easy in selecting the right answer. That's all I'm saying. I don't want you to spend this much time in the exam, but I want you to know that there is a possibility for you to approach this question using this strategy, so that when you get this question in the exam, you will not waste time and you'll know exactly what to do. Follow, Revati? So we good? So synonym antonym questions, yes, you either know the answer or you don't know the answer, but there is a strategy that you can still apply and score that mark. Let's move on to our next question type. Any questions? So I would suggest you, what can I say? I would suggest you guys practice as many questions as possible from previous years, right? That's our super source that we have. Lots of question papers available. So practice as much as you can. Try and see in whatever words that you can apply this strategy, why not, right? You have nothing to lose. Okay, let's look at the next one. Spellings. Now this is such a pain for a lot of us, right? Spellings. Why do they even have this in the exam? I wonder. What for? I have no idea. But it's still there. And we still need to figure it out. How to crack these question types, spellings, right? Now I'll tell you 3 ways in which you can focus on getting the spellings also right. Okay? Again, the best thing to do is, the first approach that we saw is break it as prefix, suffix, root word, right? The second approach that I want to say is syllable. Syllable breakup. What does that mean? What is a syllable? A syllable is one vowel sound, right? What are our vowels? We know A, E, I, O, U. Super. So if you take the word, some of you might be familiar with this word, some of you may not be familiar with this word, right? If you've heard this word, it's pronounced parsimonious. Now if I have to break it, right? If I have to break this word into syllables, I would go ahead and break it with each vowel sound. I'll say par, 1 syllable, 2 syllables, parsimo, 3rd syllable, 4th syllable, and 5th syllable. So this word has 5 syllables. Hi, Abin, Ashok. This word has 5 syllables. Parsimonious. Again, what am I quickly familiar with in terms of my prefixes, suffixes? I know OUS or IOUS is a pretty common suffix, right? Parsimony, parsimonious. Again, if I take off the prefix parsi, something to do with money. If you're familiar with this word, parsimonious means what? Basically somebody who's very stingy, right? Who doesn't spend a lot of money. If you are, the best thing to do is for spellings, the only way, again, you either know the answer or you don't know the answer, right? However, you can still apply the syllable breakup approach. Break the word into the syllables by which it's, you know it's pronounced. Of course, the answer is 4, right? You can either use the common prefix suffix option, or you could do the syllable breakup. Let's look at a couple of more spellings. Let's see if we can apply the same syllable breakup. Erroneous. Right, the next word is. So what's my obvious suffix? Pallavi, there are no set of, what do I say? These are the set of questions that are going to come in the exam. But luckily for us, there's always a couple of questions that are a repeat in SSC CGL. Especially when it comes to one-word substitutions. We'll spend some time. I wanted to take you guys through a couple of things, how to, apply theme-based or categorize one-word substitutions and do it. What's the obvious suffix in this? Erroneous. Again, let's us. 1 syllable, 2 syllables, 3 syllables, 4 syllables. Erroneous. Erroneous, erroneous, okay? We know that our common suffix is OUS. And if you look at, and another thing, if you know the word, right? Yes, that is also a suffix, Gautam. If you know the word, if I remove the suffix that you're talking about, Gautam, the remaining word is arrow. And I can quickly relate this word to another word that I'm familiar with, which is error. Right? So erroneous means what actually? Somebody who is making a mistake, right? Another word that we are very familiar with is to err, is human. Right? So anything that does not have ERR, you can quickly eliminate, which is option 2 and option 3. There's only one R. Right? However, Vivek, there's a catch there. Unless and until either you need to know the meaning of the word or you need to know the syllable breakup. So ERRONEOUS, yes, that is the right option. Yes, incorrect. Wrong, to make a mistake, that's what it means, right? You have the the word means mistake, something that is done incorrectly. Let's look at a couple of more for spellings. Hierarchy. Hierarchy. If I use the syllable breakup method again, hierarchy. Hierarchy. Right? First one starts with hey. Again, CHY is a common suffix. Which one do you think is the answer for this one? Correct, Ravi. So syllable breakup or prefixes, suffixes, you need to work on this a little bit more. But unfortunately for spellings, the only way you can register spellings is also by writing it down. By writing it down, by applying it. I don't know if archy is a suffix. It could be, depends on the words that we're familiar with. But I know CHY is definitely a suffix. Like I said, Nisha, the only way you will get to a point of knowing how to break the words is to be familiar with the vowel sounds and how the word is pronounced, right? So if not, then yes, it's going to be a challenge. You might end up not scoring marks when it comes to spellings. You might just have to skip it and move forward. See, these are just ways in which I'm saying how you can register the spelling of words. Let's look at one last one. Sanctuary. Sanctuaries. Break it down. Sang. One vowel. Chu. Re. Sanctuary. I guess, Prince, if you ask me, the only way to do this is either to read a lot, listen a lot, right? And that you should be listening to people who have the right pronunciation. It's even more important for that. Right? So spellings, I would suggest either you look at, yes, IES, RIES also is a suffix. Sanctuary again is a holy place, right? Either you know the meaning of the word or you know the correct pronunciation, because I mean, again, I wouldn't suggest pronunciation as such, because if you go by Wednesday, when you pronounce it, you will write it like this. But is this how it's spelled? No, it's actually spelled as Wednesday, right? So I wouldn't go by pronunciation, but I would still go by the syllable approach, which is getting the vowel sounds right in the word. Sanctuary. The best thing to do is you will have to I don't know how many of you are in the habit of writing down words. That's the best thing to do. Visualize it. That's the only way you can retain. So in this one, which one is it? Sanctuaries. IES, we're talking about more than one place. I think it's option 4, right? Write, visualize, read. That's the only way you can register spellings. While sanctuaries. Try and connect it. Yeah, you would have come across this word, maybe you listen to something or you read something, yeah. Writing definitely helps a lot, definitely for spellings especially, but not all of us are in the habit of doing it. So spellings again, either you know it or you don't know it, right? These are some ways in which you can probably get 1 or 2 marks here and there, but otherwise you definitely have to get it in the habit of writing it down, visualizing it, and reading as much as possible. Let's move to our next set of next question type, which is idioms and phrases, right? Now, idioms and phrases, let me tell you, there are only 3 things to approach idioms and phrases. 1, either you know it or you don't, okay? 2, you can apply a little bit of context clues and figure out the meaning. 3, you can also apply a little bit of logic, right? Try and see, okay, logically this has to be the answer to this particular question, right? So let's apply these 3 in some of these questions. Hindu, the Hindu. In fact, I shared, there's a video that I took, quick tips to improve your English, and I've shared a whole lot of newspaper sources that you can fall back on, so that you can read extensively. I wish you could go through that video. You will get a source of the types of sources that you can fall back to read. Now, fair weather friend, okay, this sort of a question, either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. Fair weather friend. Options: honest only when easy and convenient, truthful only when easy and convenient, supports only when easy and convenient, temporary only when easy and convenient. So for a question like this, right, let me give you an example sentence. If I say, when I lost my job is when I got to know who my fair weather friends are. Or when I was broke, or when I had no money, right? If that's the case, what we're basically saying is, these fair weather friends are friends who, what can I say, who's a good friend when it is easy and convenient for them, right? Otherwise they stop being your friend, especially when you have problems. So that's what a fair weather friend is. A friend who stops being your friend the minute you have some problems. Right? Otherwise they are good friends because it's easy and convenient for them. Right? So, not honest, not truthful, but supports only when easy and convenient. Option 3. So, like I said, for a question like this, either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. Right? So, don't waste a lot of time on this. But let's look at if we can apply context clues and logic. If you look at the options, everything has only when easy and convenient. So, the only differentiator is truthful, temporary, supports and honest. So, in the context, a fair weather friend will support you when it is easy and convenient for them. Okay? So, it's option 3 actually. Like I said, this sort of an idiom. There are lots of idioms and phrases like this where either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. Okay? Let's look at this one. Pull together. Can we, now in this context, pull together, there are only 2 words in this idiomatic phrase. In these 2 words, both are clue words for me, right? Together, pull together, bringing together, combining something. That's the meaning I can get from this pull together. Now from the options, can you identify a word that has the same meaning as this? Combining, bringing together, right? What is the word? There is a word from the option. Can you identify that word from the options? Which is that word? I don't want the answer. Give me the word. Yes, we're going to look at a couple of questions, Prince. Nobody is giving me the clue word from the options. Which is the word? Yes, thank you, Prince. Harmoniously, right? Harmony. What does that word mean? Gautam, correct. When I say something is in harmony, which means, imagine a music band, right? So in the music band, you have the guitarist, you have the vocals, you have the guy on the drum, right? You have the guy on the keys. So all of these guys and the vocals have to come together to give us a pleasing sound, a pleasant sound. They all have to work together to produce that effect or result of something very pleasant, right? So pull together, that's our clue word from the idiomatic phrase, together, which means to work together, to bring that harmony, right? That's your word. Work harmoniously is the option there. So here we've just applied context clues, in the sense the clue itself is the context. Let's look at one more. Fish out of water. Fish out of water. Now tell me, Prince, this is a question for you, right? What happens when you remove a fish out of the water? What's the most logical thing that the fish is going to feel? Here we're just applying logic, right? Options are dehydrated, comfortable position and uncomfortable position, fish in an aquarium. Fish out of water. What is the most logical thing? How do you think the fish is going to feel if you pull it out of water? Water is something that is natural and normal for the fish to be in, right? So which means if you take it out of water, it's going to be, it's going to feel abnormal, it's going to feel uncomfortable, right? So just to put this idiomatic phrase in a context, I felt like a fish out of water at my new workplace. Right? Which means I felt uncomfortable because I don't know anybody there. It's a new environment for me. So likewise, the environment that you're shifting the fish from water to something else that it is not comfortable with, obviously an uncomfortable position, right? So here you're just applying logic and arriving at the answer. Once in a blue moon. Have you heard this phrase? Have you heard people use this? Once in a blue moon. Blue moon. Again, is this something that happens regularly? Do we come across? So answering the question, I'm getting your comments a little late. So watching a blue moon, right, is not something that happens regularly or hardly happens, right? So obviously once in a blue moon means regularly. So all you're doing is you're applying a little bit of logic and you're saying, hey, we don't get to see a blue moon at all, it's very rare or hardly we see it. So obviously it cannot be common or predictable or ordinary, it has to be very rarely. Right? So here again, you've just applied a little bit of logic. You've asked questions. Is seeing a blue moon very common? No, it's not. So when you say once in a blue moon, what you're saying is something is very rare. Once in a blue moon, I have a little wine with dinner. right? Just to put it in a context. Okay, our last question type that we're going to spend time on is one-word substitutions. Now, this is another pain just like spellings, right? Now, one-word substitutions, I want you to, we look at some questions obviously, but again we can apply context clues even in one-word substitutions also. If you look at this one, it says regular users of places, restaurant, etc. And the options are client, clientele, often, and usage, right? From the options, what do you think is the clue from the context for you to identify what the right choice is? Okay, Chittaranjan and the rest of you who are still giving me other answers to the fish out of water question, right? Dehydrated. See, you can be dehydrated but you will still survive, right? However, given the context that we have fish out of water, which means that is not a comfortable position for the fish to be in, right? So, dehydrated would not be the most effective choice. So, some of you are saying option 1, some of you are saying option 2. My question is, what is the clue word in the context which is helping you identify that this has to be the answer? Nobody is giving me the clue word. No. Let me see who's going to give me the clue word. Okay, Pavani, close, right? In fact, regular, yes, users, right? We're talking about more than one person, right? So, regular users, which means we're talking about people, right? Often only denotes the frequency. Usage is again an unrelated word in the context. I can't use this as a word to describe this phrase. We are talking about regular users, right? Client is my customer. Clientele is a body of customers, right? So, users meaning more than like a whole group of people we are talking about here. The clients, not just one client, clients, right? Clients. So, which means it has to be clientele and not client. That's where the differentiator is. Clientele are clients of either a professional person or practice, right? It's considered as a group. And regular users is your clue. So, it has to be 2, right? Now, couple of other things like one word substitution, like for example, look at this, a man who collects old and new coins. We're talking about a person here. Now, if you are already familiar with a couple of common roots, can you quickly think of root words that maybe you're already familiar, you might be familiar with archaeologist, right? Easy one. Zoologist also you might be familiar with because we had zoology, biology in school, so we know. It has to do with animals, it has to do with prehistoric stuff, right? Geo means it's a Greek root word, right, which means earth. Right? Obviously, the only thing that is standing out is numismatist. Now, the best thing for you to do is, numismatist is a man who collects old and new coins. Likewise, this word itself can have different forms. Numismatics means what? The study or collection of coins, right? So, when you're learning or when you're acquiring the meaning of one word, try and see what the different forms are. So, you can kind of expand your vocabulary on that, right? Don't just be very narrow-minded and limit your reading to just, okay, this is one word I know, numismatist. Anything related to that also you should be able to relate it. Numismatics is nothing but the study or collection of money or coins. So, when you're reading one word, try and expand to different forms of the same word. Let's look at this. A drug which makes one see things that are not really there. Again, we're going to apply context clues. If you're seeing things that are not there, then what are you doing? If you're seeing things that are not there, you're imagining stuff, right? So from the options, can you relate to any word that means this? Maybe you may not be familiar with that word, but I'm just trying to see if any of you know what that word is. You are imagining things that are not there. What does it mean? From the options, I have aphrodisiac, steroid, carcinogen and hallucinogen. Any word that you're quickly able to relate to? Sai and Prince and Vikas. Yeah, why? You have this word, hallucination. Hallucination means what? You have some sort of a mental disorder where you're imagining, it's an illusion for you that there's something there, but it's actually not there. Right? So if you're familiar with that, an aphrodisiac, in fact, is a food, drink or other thing that stimulates desire, right? Carcinogen is a cancer-causing substance or agent. And steroid we know, right? Usually people in sports take that because it kind of enhances physiological action. So the answer is, yeah, if you're just looking at the phrase from the question and you're trying to look at the options and see which one can relate to that meaning. A drug which makes one see things that are not really there is hallucinogen. Yes, imagination, illusion, correct, Ankit Kumar. Now what I'm going to do is, especially for one-word substitutions, I want to take time and I want to tell you that there are ways in which you can retain information. Okay, so for example, you can learn words categorizing them under groups. Okay, let me clear this. Okay, so what I'm basically saying is, we're going to spend some time on one-word substitutions. I wanted to do that. Just a second. Okay? Yes. I want you to categorize one-word substitutions, into prefixes, suffixes. That way, it will help you remember, retain words. For example, all the words that end with mania. Can you think of words? I'm going to write down some words. You can also write down some words. Kleptomania. Right? Somebody who has the urge to steal things. Egomania. Somebody who's self-obsessed, right? Ego. Bibliomania. Who has an obsession on books, right? Megalomania. So I want you to kind of break down words based on suffixes. Phobias. All the phobias. Categorize all the phobias that you know. Xenophobia. Homophobia. Gynophobia. Mysophobia. Right? All the phobias. I want you to also come up with words. You might know additional words. Things that end with cide. Regicide, killing of a king. Fratricide, killing of a brother or sister. Sororicide, killing of a sister exclusively. Homicide. Parricide, right? There are a lot more. I'm just listing a few. So basically what I'm saying is, I want you to try and categorize words based on prefixes, suffixes. Monotheism, nepotism, hedonism, red tapeism, masochism, right? Altruism. So categorize them. Gist, geologist, numismatist, we just saw, right? We saw different forms of that. Numismatics, numismatist, entomologist, ornithologist, somebody who's interested in birds. Sorry. Okay, I got a different pen. Ornithologist. Right? There are lots. Gerontologist, whatever. All the logies. Categorize them. Oncology. Anthropology. So, basically what I'm trying to say is, try and learn also looking at suffixes wise. Neurology, dermatology, whatever. Yes, some of you are giving me some really good examples, right? So this is one way of doing it as well, where you kind of get an idea of, okay, I have an idea of all these words, all the phobias I'm familiar with, all the killings I'm familiar with, right? Who is who I'm familiar with. So try and categorize either based on synonyms or prefixes or suffixes. That will also help. So when you learn by categories, it's easier to kind of retain or register the meaning of these words. Also, another way of doing it is especially one particular thing. I'm going to clear this. Okay, you can always go back and see this, but another way to do this is, I'm just putting this, a person, okay, and then there's a whole lot of persons. Usually in one word substitutions you get this, right? So I'm just going to list out a couple of them. If you know the answer, please tell me. A person who is new to a profession. A person who is womanish in his habits. If you know the answer, you can give it out. Siya Vivek. A person who has lost the protection of law. So there are a lot of questions that come like this, right? A person who is so and so. A person who lays too much stress on bookish learning. So learn of all the types of persons. That will also help you. A person who engages in crimes, in crime and violence. Someone who takes pleasure in food. In fine food and drink. I'm going to give you the answer, but if you know it, you can answer it. A person who is extremely desirous of money. There's a lot like this. A person who is 80 years old, right? You have people who are above 90, then 60 to 69, 70 to 79. So get to know all that. Somebody who deserts and betrays an organization. Either an organization, a country, or set of principles. Okay? So just to name a few, I've listed, there's a lot more like this. Let's make it even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, one more. Who else can I say? A person who is lower. In position or rank. Okay, so a lot of Mukesh Ambani it seems. Okay, so let's look at our answers. Okay, a novice, yes, who's womanish in his habits. Effeminate. Effeminate. In fact, effeminate, that's how it's pronounced. Who has lost the protection of the law? Outlaw. Who lays too much stress on bookish learning? A pedant is one who lays, yes, who engages in crime and violence. A hoodlum. Who takes particular pleasure in fine food and drink? Epicure. Extremely desirous of money, avaricious. Who's 80 years old. Remember, octa, hexa, all of this we read in school, right? Octa means 8. Octogenarian. Who deserts and betrays an organization, country, or set of principles, renegade. Right? Who is lower in position or rank? Subaltern. Sorry, let me get this correct. ALTERN. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is try and look at one word substitutions, categorize them and try and read. So I'm getting some there could be other options. I'm saying the idea is for you to categorize them, right? Categorize them. Please understand there's one word that can have different meanings, right? So there could be another word having the same meaning. All I'm trying to say is you need to be able to categorize questions. Yeah? I think person is above 90 is called non-agenarian, if I'm not wrong. You might want to check it out. Right? So basically, try and, for one word substitution, try and look at categorizing them. Okay, so we've kind of almost come to the end of the session, and Deepak, my name is right there. Sylvia, if you didn't know it. But the point being, for vocabulary based questions, you need to kind of obviously read extensively and write as much as you can, making sure you have the right spellings, making sure you have the right meanings, making sure you even know how to pronounce them correctly, right? But the idea is for you to practice as much as you can, right? I have shared a couple of strategies that you can use or employ when you approach vocabulary based questions. but maybe we can, spend a little bit more time in future sessions in terms of how to approach. Maybe some of you asked, what about root words or things like that. We can definitely do that, but all I'm saying is you need to take some time out and look and see how you can maximize your chances of scoring even when it comes to vocabulary based questions, right? That's the point. The point being that why skip those questions if you can use an approach and score that 2 marks, right? So every Kumar, we have this every Wednesdays at 6. We have sessions on quantitative aptitude, reasoning, computer programming and verbal ability. So these sessions will be aired regularly, just to help you guys, making sure that you learn the right way and what strategies and concepts you can apply, and making your job easy in scoring and getting the qualified marks that you need, right, in the examination. So some questions. Hello ma'am, can you help me please? And what, Nitesh? Let me know. So in case you came a little later, don't worry, you can always go ahead and see this video at a later point of time. Yeah, so all the very best. I will catch you guys in another session definitely before the exam starts. In August we'll have 1 or 2 more sessions. Let me know if you want us to, if you want me to focus on any particular concept, we can do that. But please do take time and have a daily plan and stick to it, right? Every Wednesday will this continue? Yes, Kumar, it will. Alright, so take care guys and have a nice rest of the evening. Bye.